I'm ready, Freddy. Missy boys, Shards and Shenanigans, back in the house.
We're doing it. The Mist E boys are back. That's Christopher over there, and I'm Kyle, and happy to have you along. We're reading through, recapping chapters 36 and 37 of Mistborn, and in the thick of part 5, in the thick of the Sanderlanche, we're definitely getting buried.
Yeah, into the thick
Multiple,
of it.
multiple feet. Yeah, multiple feet of snow on top of us, and
Oh
we're
yeah,
suffocating a little bit
little snow blind.
because the information is coming hot and heavy, or maybe cold and heavy because
Yeah,
it's a Sanderlanche.
that's Cinderland. Yeah, no, there's a lot coming at us here. It's really nice that we get to just like wet our whistle with some familiar little snack up here in the front. But yeah, then we take a deep dive. I'm so stoked. Let's jump. Let's jump in,
Yeah,
bud.
dude, let's do it. Snack time. So Lord Ruler is in the snack again. He's thankful for Rashek's hatred, and he wants to be reminded that there are people that abhor him. And he is thinking here that, like, hey, I'm not supposed to be popular or loved. I need to just ensure mankind's survival. Um, which I think this is a deviation from things we've seen before where, I mean, he certainly was like, oh, I'm the chosen one, and I'm the hero of ages. I'm supposed to save people, and I hope people don't see me as a tyrant. And he's kind of given that up, and he's just like, I really don't care how they see me. Like, I'm saving them, and it is what it is. So,
Yeah, kind of
he's
like a
certainly going
breaking
through a
point.
change of attitude. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, definitely. He's doesn't care anymore about people's opinions of him, and he's willing to do what it takes, willing to let his friends abhor him. Yeah, it's crazy.
abhor him. So, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for this meal, and we're
Yeah,
gonna jump right into
I'm
36
ready.
because it's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So if you remember from our last episode, we were with Vin, and she was walking off. She was in one of the warehouses where the Ska rebels were gathering up their equipment, getting some swords, weapons, shields, different things to go out and fight the nobility, fight the garrison, fight back the Lord Ruler. And so she was having a conversation with Sazed about kind of what her place is in all of this now that Kelsier's gone, and she's supposed to be the assassin now, and she gears up. And at the end of the last episode, she was saying that, hey, I'm gonna go and find out what's inside the room in Kredek Shaw, which we I think colloquialism colloquially
Colloquialism?
colloquially I think colloquially,
Yeah.
we called that the break room in Kredek Shaw.
Oh,
'Cause that's where
yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what we called it.
that's
Colloquially. Yes, okay.
that's where
Tracking.
the Inquisitors hang out. They're there every
Yeah,
time. They're just
it's the
like
break
heating up
room.
their lunch in the microwave, and
Hot
then they just
pockets.
keep getting interrupted by these fucking ska Mistborn. So
Steel pockets.
yeah, steel pockets. Yeah, they just hammer their rods in their eyes when the
Spikes.
nails get loose,
Yeah.
the spikes. They just hammer them into a hammer on the wall to get them back in place.
That's better.
Yeah. So
Oh, man.
anyway, so that's where we left off, and that's where we're opening up here in 36. So Vin's walking towards Kredek Shaw, and she's like, the city is a light behind her, right? The mists are out, it's dark, but there's this light that's radiating throughout the city with all the torchlight from all the Ska that are rebelling. And there's these guards that are just like the same entrance she went into last time with Kelsier. There's a bunch of guards standing there, and they're like watching her really nervously. And she walks up and stops right in front of them as they like lower their spears at her. And she kind of is like, oh, I know you. Like, you were someone who has endured it all, and you've done a lot, and you've suffered, and you didn't want your families to starve, so you came here and you worked here, and like that's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, we can't blame you. But hey, the entire cities, they're rising up against the Lord Ruler, and you made some tough choices, but let's go make that the right choice here. Why don't you go out to them, meet with the rebellion Ska in the Square of the Survivor.
Yeah, sweet.
So Yeah, that's amazing. I like the rebrand.
Me too.
Not quite as good as the Cracker Barrel rebrand.
That's a hot take.
That's hot and heavy in the
Yeah,
news right
yeah,
now.
rebrand. We're going back. We're going back, and maybe you should start calling it the Waffle House. I don't know. All right, sorry.
Yeah,
Wa-
you're wilding out.
Waffling back and forth.
Oh man, that was a good one. I like that.
Deep cuts. Yeah, man.
Deep cuts. So we're leaving it in, and so they're kind of looking at each other, and they're like, Square of the Survivor, and she's like, yeah, we're the survivor. Hassan was killed, and she ends up using her emotions to,
She
riot them up, and
Yeah.
says, hey, like you don't have to be like guilt filled anymore, and one of them he rips the symbol or the patch off his arm, and strides off into the night, and the rest of them kind of look at each other, and they do the same. And so she just walks into Credit Shaw. She passes the guard room that they had a pretty sick fight in last time. They all kind of watch her go and don't do anything, and then all of a sudden they're like, hey, that wasn't normal, and they jump up, and they're calling out to her an alarm, and she just literally jumps and pushes against some metal behind her, and she literally flies down the hallway to get away from them. Then just trots back down and just casually walks because she's like, yeah, I'm so far away, they're never gonna catch me. And then we're moving quick here. She's in the door down the hallway, and next thing you know, we're in the domed room, the central chamber in Credit Shaw, where this house inside of the room is, this building inside the building, and 2 Inquisitors are blocking her path there instead of 3. Wonder what could have happened to that third one. Heyo.
Got him.
And
he's not on break.
So, no, he's not on break. He is gone. And so Vin's walking in here, and she's thinking they probably knew I was coming based on obviously, some things that she's burning, and they are surprised, and they say, we searched for you all this time, and you come to us. And so she stops in front of the pair, and they're smiling. This is their quintessential, I think, mark, or how you can just certainly identify them as the creepy smile. They love giving that out. And so those arrowheads from the last chapter, our last episode, we talked about that she had broken off to take with her. She throws them up into the air, and she flares her steel, and she pushes against them, and there's these rings of metal. That's what she's actually pushing against, because she wrapped them around the arrowhead shaft.
Yeah.
And so as they're shooting forward and ripping across the room, these Inquisitors, they're laughing, and they push against them, thinking, "Oh, I'll stop these." Well, the metal rings, which was, we talked about
from
this
the
last time, chainmail rings, fly back, but the arrows are still coming because they're not
sick.
They're not steel tipped.
It's stone.
Right?
They're stone tipped heads. Is what he said. Yeah. Oh, it's so good. I love it.
Oh yeah, super. I mean, Kelsier's good, right? We've seen him fight, and he's probably the best that there was. But some of the stuff that Vin does,
it's
is surprising. Not only the people in the crew or people who have been Mistborn for a long time, but obviously surprising the Inquisitors, and it's just impressive how smart she is and how quickly she's picked all this up, which I think just kind of lends me to go back to think of what is she, right?
Right.
Who does she actually belong to? Why is she different? Why is she so different? What's special about her? And so that's sick. And one of the Inquisitor, he gets struck all over, and he's down. And then the other Inquisitor gets struck in the leg. She dashes forward. She's not trying to kill them or fight them here. She just wants to get inside the room. And so she just dashes past them. And as she's going past them, she throws out the, pewter dust, right? And she throws it up into the air. And so when the Inquisitor's looking up confused, he sees all these blue lines because it's all these little specks in the air, and it almost blinds him. And so as he's doing that, she whips out a dagger, flips it at him, hits him in the thigh. He falls. And so she's just hey, walking into this room and just murking these dudes. These dudes are
Let us say a chance.
Feeling her wrath, man. And she pushes past them and gets inside this building. So further than pretty much Kelsier's ever gotten his last 2 times he was here.
Yeah.
And she's by herself.
Yeah.
And she's
So
looking
good.
around and she's frowning and she's kind of thinking like, what's going on? She's thinking like, whatever it is, whatever the secret is, the clue on how to defeat him, it's in here. And so she's looking around and she's hoping that she's distracted the Inquisitors long enough she can find whatever the secret is. And so we get the first description of the inside of this place. There's a fireplace. There's a hearth. It's burning in the center of the chamber. The walls are decorated with trappings. So I'm assuming that's like furs or like heads of animals, right? Trophies. Yeah. Furs are hung. There's pelts and kind of in strange patterns and she's not recognizing like the animals or kind of anything here. It all looks very foreign to her. And there's some old paintings, but they're very faded. The canvases have yellowed over time. And so she's looking, trying to find something that could be this weapon, like the secret that's going to defeat the Lord Ruler, and she can't find it. And she's starting to have this feeling that like, hey, this is an unremarkable place. Like it's kind of like a home. It's got hominess. It's like a study or a den. It's got all these strange things in it. But and then she noticed a pair of strange shoes with very wide, flat bottoms. She decides, she thinks this is the room of a pack rat, somewhere where you keep memories of the past. And then all of a sudden she jumps because something moves near the center of the room, and a chair kind of turns towards her, and there's a wizened old man sitting in it, bald. He's got liver spotted skin, and he appeared to be like in his 70s, and he's got like dark clothing, and he's super angry. He's like frowning at her. And she's like, God damn it, I failed. There's just some old fuck in here. Like, she's not happy about it. And just as she's getting ready to like, okay, time to go. Like I didn't find what I was looking for, an Inquisitor grabs her. And so the guys from outside, they are back and they've healed up a little bit because like the one with the leg wound shouldn't have even been able to walk, but he's grabbing her here. And so she's trying to get away from him, but his grasp is super strong. And the old man's saying, what is this? And Inquisitor says, I'm sorry, Lord Ruler.
Whoa.
And she's like, what? Lord Ruler? I saw him in the square fighting Kelsier. He wasn't old. He was young. And he's just like, yep, kill her. Take her away. This is where we start to get a little bit of some information that's, it's just going to build from here. Like, hey, the Inquisitor, is saying this child is of special interest and he wants to keep her for a time. And the Lord Ruler asks him about this, and he's like, well, we wish to petition you regarding the Canton of Orthodoxy. Now, we're getting a little bit into, if you think back to things that our RIP friend Marsh, peace out Marsh, he had told us, had sent word that, hey, there is some strife in the Lord Ruler's kingdom, in the Final Empire, between the Inquisitors and the Obligators. Yeah. And so they don't really like each other. They're very wary of each other. And so we're starting to see this play out here. And so Marsh was right on. He knew what he was talking about. And the Lord Ruler's like, hey, like, we've talked about this, guys. And the Inquisitor's like, please, this is good. And so Vin is listening to all this, and everything she's trying, she's flaring her pewter, nothing's working, and she remembers that she had shaved off some of the 11th metal, and she has that power sitting in her, and she's got this unfamiliar reserve of allomancy inside of her, and she decides, hey, I'm going to burn this, and she does, and she doesn't see anything happen. She doesn't feel anything different, and she's like pretty bummed, but then, to her surprise, as she looks around, there's someone else standing in the room now, right next to the Lord Ruler. And she's like, I didn't see him come in. Where'd he come from? It's this guy. He's got this, thick wool, fur-lined cloak on. He's got a full beard. It wasn't like, rich clothing, but it's well constructed, she says. And he looked content and he smiled happily. Huh. And Vin is she's like, what, this doesn't make any sense, and she's saying that his features looked very similar to those of the man who had killed Kelsier, but this man was a little older and obviously more alive than what the Lord Ruler looked like when he was fighting Kelsier. Then she turns to her side, and there's another person, another man behind, or like beside her, a young nobleman, a merchant from the looks of him. He's got this nice suit on, like a wealthy one. And she's like, "What in the world?" And then the metal burned out. She didn't shave enough off, and that once that happens, these guys vanish. And so the Lord Ruler talking back to the Inquisitors now is like, "Okay, like I'll hear your petition. Let's meet in a couple of hours' time." Tavidian,
Yeah.
which we've heard of before, has already requested a gathering to discuss matters outside the palace. And so, if you don't remember, everybody, Tavidian, you know who that is? Hit us with it, Christopher.
Oh, that's Vin's dad.
Hey, Daddy.
Yeah, and I love the Inquisitor's response here. He goes, "Ah, yes, it will be good for him to be there. Good indeed." Like just so evil,
cryptic and creepy.
It's
and
exactly what they
smile.
want. Oh, this creepy smile and the spikes through his eyes. Like that's definitely what he wants. He wants to try and. I mean, because I think they have a suspicion that it's Davidians.
Yeah.
And so they're gonna, they're coming for him. But anyways, yeah,
they're coming for him.
I love
and so, we're jumping to a perspective change, but before they do that, the Inquisitor, classic move here, hits Vin with something hard. But she blacks out and passes out, and that's it. Perspective
Not
change.
looking good for Vin. Like great start and just oof, man. Intense.
Yeah, she was super clever and didn't quite work out for her here.
Yeah,
kind
of a Kelsier move there. Just balls to the wall, going in.
Hey, maybe the next person, like they keep getting a little further every time. So whoever comes in next,
right,
maybe they'll get a little closer to the hearth in the middle of the room, and
like Silo, the sheriffs.
yeah. Each one gets a little closer to the truth. So, perspective change here. We've got Elend, and he's with his father. They're in an entryway kind of to their keep. He's demanding to his father, "Hey, what's going on? There's people running all over, soldiers, servants," and he's ignored by Straff here. And then Elend kind of pesters him, and he's like, "There's a Ska rebellion." And he's kind of thinking quickly through all these thoughts of like, that's impossible. That doesn't make sense. Valet's a Ska, and he's like, well, I shouldn't be thinking like that. Like, I need to open my eyes. Like, there's more to this than like just Ska. And he knows that the garrison's gone and they have been sent off to, out into the field outside the city to slaughter the rebels that were out there. So that'd be Yeadon and crew. They didn't quite get there, but they were looking for all the stragglers and that kind of stuff, searching for anybody in the caves, that kind of stuff. But he's thinking here that like the Ska, like they've been watching these gruesome executions like a couple weeks ago. Now they saw more today. Things are stressed, right? Like we're bending something to a breaking point. And Ellen brings up an author, Tamadre. That's a new name for us, I believe. I don't remember us hearing the name of or like the authors of some of his books. I think we might have. Maybe we've heard this, maybe we haven't. It's not super relevant here, but Tamadre is, he's recalling this thought, things that he has read about the final empire can't last forever. Like people are going to rise up, and he's thinking, wow, like I get to live through this. These things I've been reading and discussing with my friends, these grand ideas we've had that has been passed on through these secret books. We're actually seeing it happen. And he's thinking, but I'm on the wrong side of it, right? Like I'm a nobleman. I'm not kind of where I want to be. And so Ellen's thinking like, hey, like what's going on, with his dad? Hey, what's going on here? Like, why do you have canal masters here? And Straff is like, hey, we're out. We're leaving. We're abandoning the keep. And Ellen's like, well, what's the honor in that? Like, you should stand and fight. Straff's like, hey, it's about survival. It's not about who's the bravest or who can puff their chest out the most. We got to get out of here. Also, something happened at the pits a few days ago. Thanks, Kelsier, R.I.P.
Yeah.
And the Lord Ruler isn't going to be happy about it when he finds out. So not only is Straff scared that the rebellion's going to come for him, these Ska, but he's also scared of the Lord Ruler and what he's going to do to him once he finds out that, hey, all that ATM that you need for whatever purpose and that you use to kind of control the empire and keep us all kind of under your thumb, it's all gone.
Yeah, that you
Whatever
were
you got,
expecting me to
hope it
protect.
lasts. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Whoopsies. Failed you twice in 4 years.
Yeah, not a good sign.
Nope, he's not doing so good here. So Elend is thinking like, wow, the Ska Rebellion's happening. And he's thinking about those writings from Tamadre that he had read, and that when this would finally come, when the Ska would rise up, they are going to slaughter wantonly, and that every nobleman's life would be forfeit. But this guy predicted that the rebellion's going to die out quickly, and it's going to leave piles of corpses in its wake. So, like, yes, it's you can rise up, and maybe you'll kill a bunch of people, but then you're all going to die, and it's just not gonna go well. And so Straff is like, "Hey, come on, snap out of it,
we
right?
gotta
Go get
go.
your stuff.
Yeah, we're leaving.
Like, we're getting out of here."
We're
And Ellen's like,
leaving.
"No, I'm not going. I'm not going.
Nuh-uh, Dad.
Dad, I don't want to go." And he's like, "No, you're coming. Come on." And Ellen's like, "Nope, I'm not going." And he's excited that he's actually defying his father and standing up to him. And he's thinking someone's got to stop this. Like, the rebellion's going to do some good, but only if they don't slaughter their allies, who he considers himself and the other noblemen their allies. And so he wants to work with them. And that really the one true enemy, the enemy of my enemy, kind of is my. Wait, no. The enemy of my... What is that?
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so if you're... Yeah. So the Lord Ruler's the enemy. His enemy is the Ska. Ska are my friend, I guess. So he's thinking here, like, nope, Dad, I'm staying. And, Straff is getting all pissed off. But then he kind of is like, oh, you know what? Why don't you stay? That's a good idea. And it's that whole, like, yep, we'll just... we'll get rid of Ellen. That's kind of what I've been trying to do, right? And maybe you go ahead and try to deal with the rebellion, and maybe you go ahead and take the Lord Ruler's ire for the family. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks, kid. Love ya.
Yeah, I know. So terrible.
Love ya. And Ellen
Straff
picks up on it,
sucks.
which I'm glad he is aware of this kind of hatred that his father has towards him. It's certainly better to be aware of it than to just kind of be blindsided or caught unawares by it. So he says, "Okay, leave me some soldiers, and I'm gonna hang out." And his dad's like, "Yeah, you have whatever you want. I'm taking one boat. Say hello to the Lord Ruler." And he pieces out. That's it.
Yeah.
And so Ellen's excited. He's like, "I'm in charge." And he quickly comes up with a plan. And everything's in chaos. And soldiers and servants are looking to him. They're terrified, and they're kind of looking to someone for leadership. And he yells at the captain of their forces, and says, "Hey, like, gather everybody. Don't leave anyone. We're going to keep Lakal." And he's confused by this. Like, that's our enemy. And he's like, "It's more defensible than we are here. We're going to work together with them. That's what we're doing." And he's like, and Ellen's like, "Yes, like, we're gonna make the first, like, extend the first olive branch. We're gonna extend the first olive branch, and we're gonna start to work together instead of being enemies all the time, right? Like, we're squabbling amongst ourselves, and that's what the Lord Ruler wants." And so the captain's like, "Okay, whatever. You're the boss." And so he runs off, and then Ellen yells at him like, "Hey, but grab your 5 best soldiers. You handle this retreat to keep Lakal. Me and those 5 soldiers, we're on a mission. We're going to turn ourselves in." And then another perspective change.
Whoa, crazy. I mean, like, crazy plan, but, like, I think he's got some good ideas, and, like, I don't know. I'm glad he stood up to Straff. We hate Straff. Yeah, we love balls.
Yeah, hey, Straff.
We
Eat
hate
shit, Straff.
Eat shit, Straff. We hate you.
I hope you fall off your boat and get wet.
Exactly. Yeah, there's only one other character I hate worse than Straff, and we haven't met him yet. But yeah, that's Straff's up there, man. He sucks.
Yeah. Nasty, nasty guy. So we perspective change back to Vin. She has awoken, and she's wet here. She's got probably some blood, I'm assuming, that's ran down the back of her skull, and she's dizzy. Oh no, just kidding. She's got water that's been thrown on her. That's why she's wet.
Yeah, right.
She burns some metals to kind of waken herself up, and she's immediately grabbed and hoisted in the air, and they throw something in her mouth. So this is very interesting because she ends up swallowing it. She's forced to, and the second she does, her metals that she's got reserved in her that she's feeling that she can burn are like just like gone, right? Like they're snuffed out.
Yeah.
And so like what causes that?
Oh yeah, great question, Kyle.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know what that could be.
It's very important.
Like,
it's very important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, clearly, like if you could do that to somebody that's getting ready to fight you or something, like that's amazing.
Yeah,
it's a great tool to have.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, something, it's another secret for sure. The Inquisitor's secret, because I'm sure they've had other Mistborn prisoners before,
for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so
or at least Misteens, right?
Well, probably both, yeah. Probably
both,
more Mistings than Mistborn.
Elementses.
Yes, exactly.
So she's thinking the same thing as us, like, what is this? And she's saying, is it a 12th metal? Is that what it could be? And she, now that her reserves are gone and they're kind of snuffed out, she feels the Lord Ruler's presence like pushing against her. She feels the depression. It's, she just wants to lie down and give up. And that's the feeling she's got, but she is at least of a strong mind to think, no, like I have to get out of this. I have to stay strong. And they've stripped her down. She's in a cage. In some kind of basically dungeon, and they've stripped her down to just like her underclothes, and she's looking to see, is there anything around I could burn or shave off, like something on the floor that got left behind, but there's nothing. And she's kind of kicking herself because she's learned or come to rely on her allomancy. And, old her would have obviously never had a chance to do that and was very resourceful. And, which, I mean, I don't think she should be super hard on herself for thinking about her allomancy, because, like, the stuff that she does with that is very resourceful. I mean, who's throwing pewter dust into the air to blind Inquisitor? Inquisitor, like,
right.
Like, that's pretty clever, Vin. So,
right. That's cool.
But she's not finding what she's looking for here. And, there's kind of no way to get out. And she's frustrated because, like, there's metal bars, obviously, holding her in. And there's so much metal around her, and she can't use any of it. And there is there's a window, and it's dark outside, but she thinks she sees some light. So maybe, like, the rebellion's still going on. Like, there's still either fires burning or torchlight out in the sky in the mist. And she's thinking about, what's going on. What are her friends doing? What's the crew doing? How's the rebellion going? And she's in some despair here. What was I thinking? Like, could I succeed where Kelsier failed? Like, he even knew the 11th metal was useless. And so she's kind of kicking herself. And she's starting to kind of think over, hey, what about this 11th metal business, right? Like, there was an unfamiliarity about what happened, and the way it made her feel was kind of familiar when she burned the metal. And she's thinking, oh, gold, right? The moment I burned the 11th metal, it felt like that time I had burned my gold. And she's thinking maybe the 11th metal wasn't really the 11th at all. So gold and atium. I'm going to read a lot of this. Sorry, Brandon. But, you just can describe it a little better than me. So
it's described pretty well here. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Gold and atium they seem like an odd pair. So all the metals up till now have been paired off, right? So you got steel and iron. You got, what are some of the other pairs? I'm blanking right now.
Zinc, brass, zinc pulled, brass pushes. Those are the two pairs for like that one. Steel and iron were the two pairs for that one. Then we've got
bronze and copper.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, bronze and copper, tin and
pewter.
Pewter. Yep. There you go. Tin, pewter, bronze, copper, zinc, brass, and then gold and atium. Because those are the 8 basic. And then, gold and atium. It's all that we've learned about so far. And then mysterious metal that was put in Ben's mouth. And the 11th metal. The mysterious thing that was put in Ben's mouth. Yeah, who knows what it is. Well, they said to burn it. So actually, that's how you know that it was.
Oh, that's true. They did say to burn it. Oh, we thought we were gonna have to cut that out because we thought
I
nope,
was so scared there.
Dude, I know. I literally I was trying to make that eye contact with you. Like it's okay. We'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.
Burn it. They said burn it.
Yeah, that's true. They had her burn it. So she's thinking here that gold and adium seemed like an odd pair. And it's, all the pairs up to now has been like a metal and then an alloy of that metal. So iron pulled, steel pushed, zinc pulled, brass pushed. And like it all makes sense except for atium and gold. And she's thinking, what if this 11th metal was really an alloy of either atium or gold? And that would mean that gold and atium aren't paired together. They're two different things, similar but different. And, like the other metals, they're grouped into these larger bases of 4. The physical metals, iron, steel, tin, pewter. The mental metals, bronze, copper, zinc, brass. And that these are time-affecting metals. Gold, its alloy, which we don't know maybe, and atium and its alloy. So she's thinking there's another metal. So like, where does her 11th metal that she burned, like where does it fall in? Is it the gold's alloy? Is it atium's alloy? And she's thinking, okay, this 11th metal probably just a paired opposite of gold. And like the gold had shown Vin herself or different versions of herself when she burned it with Kelsier, a couple weeks ago.
Right.
It'd been like a vision of what she could have become, and had the past been different. And this 11th metal had done something kind of similar.
Well, very different. Yeah, I mean, similar but different. Like because it showed her his, I think his past or present, like if things had went different. Like I don't know, I couldn't really tell. It's things I've thought about a lot because it's like, are those two different places in his past and maybe like paths that he would have had if he had made different decisions, or are they like, would he have still become the Lord Ruler and made it this far? Like I don't know, probably not. Probably like 1 in a million chance that he become God.
If we're going off of that, this is him as a like different versions of him that could be based on the past, right? Like
right.
different branches to his present, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the one tall guy that's standing next to him looks content and happy. Personally, I'm thinking, okay, that's a Lord Ruler who's not a Lord Ruler and who has saved the world and has not become a tyrant and has given himself to the people, and he's happy and content and, not filled with rage and sadness. And the other one is
one's very interesting.
Hey, this like, hey, what if I'm thinking it's like, hey, what if I never went on that journey? What if I just grew up in Kalinium and
became a wealthy merchant?
Became a wealthy merchant. Like I think those are, to me, that's what it seems like his past, if that's what this is even showing us.
Yeah, but she does kind of relate it to gold. So I mean, like, I'm
especially
definitely
the feeling, right?
Yeah, so the feeling. Well, and then how the other one's like pushed and pulled, right? And so she feels like this is almost a different direction of like pushing and versus pulling from gold, whichever gold is doing. I kind of feel like, to me, in my mind, she's like pulling gold because it's coming from the past, and she's like pushing and projecting, seeing this other image of someone else with this other metal. But that's my guess. I don't know. Yeah, I actually don't. I actually have no idea. This is it's good stuff.
Yeah, there's so many questions,
Yeah,
and like
got a lot.
You're just obviously not getting these answers yet, and it's like frustrating.
Yeah, no, there's a lot,
but that's okay.
There's always more to know. I'm always excited to get the info. Like I'm a hungry reader, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so a figure, as she's going over all of this, a figure appears in the doorway. It's an Inquisitor, and she looks up, and he's got all of these. Wait, no, that's not right.
Arrowhead wounds?
I thought so, but here, yeah. So he is the one. So she's eventually able to see her, or to see the Inquisitor's face, because he has his hood on, and he's smiling, but his face is pocked with scars that look like arrowhead wounds. So she's very surprised that he's healed already, and like, how could this guy heal so fast?
Yeah.
And she's struggling against him, but she's weak and he's strong, and she has no powers. So they walk her out, and there's another Inquisitor kind of waiting. He's smiling at her, and she spits at him, and the spit lands right on one of the spike heads that's in his eye, which I was just like, that's kind of savage. I don't know if I would have done that.
Yeah, totally.
And so she's starting to scream, but they yell at her to be quiet, and she does. And so they're walking her through these lower levels, through these chambers, and they start to climb some stairwells, and she's thinking maybe they're in one of the spires. And every time they're taking a step, she feels the Lord Ruler getting closer. And eventually they go into this large circular room. Even though it's gotten so intense, the feeling and like the soothing from the Lord Ruler, she's able to kind of spare a second to like look at her surroundings instead of just being so like, dejected and kind of looking down. And she's thinking, wow, this is like nothing I've seen before. It's, even nicer looking than Keep Venture. That the entire like surroundings was made of glass, and there's fires behind the glass, so everything inside, I'm just imagining, is this like crazy kaleidoscope of beautiful light through this glass. And the glass is colored. It's not any specific scene, but it's like these brown and melted colors and long thin trails, kind of like, oh, what's the theme here with glass? Mist. And all these colors are dancing around the room, and the Lord Ruler is sitting on a throne in the center of the room, and he's back to his younger version, the one that we saw that had killed Kelsier. And she's thinking, like, is this even the same guy? What is going on? And some obligators, tattooed obligators, are standing over the side. There's 7 Inquisitors waiting. Now, if you remember, 10 Inquisitors were supposed to be in the Central Dominance, specifically in Luthadel, and all the other ones are kind of spread throughout the kingdom, the Empire. And so there's 7 here. She's got 2 with her, and we're missing 1, and we know where he is.
Yeah.
Straight to hell.
Adios.
And, the Lord Ruler's like, all right, let's get this over with. And Vin recognizes her father, Lord Praelin Tavidian. He is the head Praelin. The High Praelin, excuse me. And Tavidian's like, hey, what are we doing here? Like, we've already discussed this. This is stupid. And the Lord Ruler's like, I don't know. These Inquisitors say they got more on you, so let's just get this over with. And the Lord Ruler's like, Tavidian, I'm sorry, he brings up, like, there's stuff going on. The Ska are rebelling. Like, we should be doing something about that. They're attacking the nobility. And the Lord Ruler's like, let them.
Bored.
Just let it happen, right?
I don't care.
It's good for these houses to fall. They should get purged every century. They get too confident. Like, I usually let them kill each other, but the Ska killing them will work for me as well. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. His, like, just absolute resolute, like, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. I'm more important and powerful than anybody here. If the Ska rise up or come to the palace, I'll deal with them, he says. So he just, like, don't question me further, is what he says. And so they finally get on with it. And they've got this petition, the Inquisitors, for a change in leadership of the ministry. And they want these men, very emphasized here, to be thrown out. And they want the Inquisitors themselves to be put in charge of the ministry. And the Lord Ruler's like, no, we talked about this. Like, that's a waste of your time. And they're like, no, like, if you let these common men rule, like, you're going to have corruption. And there's corruption right here. And we get a name for this Inquisitor. This Inquisitor's name is Kar.
Yeah, Kar.
K-A-R.
Right. And
Tavidian's like, you say such things often, Kar, but you don't have any proof. And Kar's just smiling. Got that eerie smile on. He's like, proof? Hey, don't you recognize this young gal we got with us there, Lord Praelin? And he's like, no, I don't. What's she got to do with this? And he's like, oh, she's got everything. Why don't you go ahead, little Vin? Why don't you tell the Lord Ruler who your father is? And Vin's like, nope, not going to do that. I don't know who he is. And the Lord Ruler's this is piquing his interest. He's kind of excited. And They're saying, like, don't lie to him. He's lived for centuries. He can use allomancy like no mortal man. He can see things in your heartbeats and could read the emotions in your eyes. He knows when you're lying. Yes, he knows. And she's like, I never knew my father. Still being stubborn. I'm just a street urchin. And they like continue to go through this, and the Lord Ruler stands, and he slowly comes down to Vidian is kind of saying, like, well, what are you implying with this girl, right? Like, because they're claiming, hey, like she has to have had come from some kind of noble house. How does this, like, what's going on?
Oh man.
The Lord Ruler's ignoring all this going on, and he just steps right up to Vin, and he's so close to her, and she's feeling all this horrible sorrow. It's overwhelming for her, and he reaches out with his hands and takes her by her cheeks and tilts her face up so she's looking at him, and he's like, "Who is your father?" And she's like, and she's got all this despair and grief and a desire to die, and that's the feeling that she's got coming from the Lord Ruler. And he's holding her face, it's very close to his, and he's looking into her eyes, and she knew the truth in that moment. She could see a piece of him, she could sense his power, his godlike power, and he's not worried about the ska. Why would he have to worry? He'd be able to slaughter everybody by himself. It'd take some time, but he could do it. Like, he doesn't fear anything. Kelsier has made a terrible mistake, had made one, in thinking that, he could defeat the Lord Ruler. And he prompts her again, hey, like, your father, like, who is it? And she finally says, my brother told me that my father was that man over there, the Lord Pralin. And she's crying now, and the Lord Ruler turns at him, and he's like, Tavidian's like, no, this is a lie, like, she's just a child. And the Lord Ruler's like, tell me the truth, have you ever bedded a ska woman? And he's like, I follow the law each time, I slay them. And the Lord Ruler's like, you lie, you're uncertain. He's like, well, I think I got them all. There's one time I had been a little lax, and like, I didn't know really that she was a ska, and then I sent a soldier to kill her, and he was kind of too lenient, and like, he let her go, but I did find her. And he's like, well, did she ever bear any children? And he's like, well, yeah, I mean, he did. And he just turns back, he's shaking his head, walking back to his throne, and he just says, he's yours. And 6 Inquisitors dash across the room to him, and just they pull out their obsidian knives.
It says,
and they hooping and hollering, and just brutally kill this guy. And all the other obligators are terrified. They're looking on in horror. And Carr's smiling. He's like, I see him like that. Have you know the Jack Nicholson meme from, I think it's what is Anger Management, where he's just like wide-eyed.
Yeah,
he's smiling.
Yeah,
and
totally.
he's and that's what I'm seeing here from this Inquisitor.
Oh, for sure. Evil.
And so Carr's here, he's watching. So as was the other Inquisitor, the one that's holding her, and a third Inquisitor is also hanging back as well. And the Lord Ruler says, you've proven your point, Inquisitor. I've trusted too much in the obedience of mankind. I did not make a mistake. I have never made a mistake, but it is time for a change. Gather the High Pralins and bring them here, rouse them from their beds if need be. They will witness as I grant the Canton of Inquisition command and authority over the ministry. And Carr's ecstatic, and then he's just like, yep, that half-breed child, destroy her. And Carr's like, yep, of course, but I need to ask her some questions first. There's some people with her that I think we want to find, like, and the Lord Ruler's just like, yeah, whatever, like, that's what you're supposed to do, go do it. And then after a very long recap of a very short but very intense chapter, 36, we're at the end.
Wow, man. It was a rad, dude. I mean, I think we're in the full force there. I really love a lot of the reveals there are great. The drama is high. Seeing Vin's father die is like pretty awesome. He definitely doesn't live up to my expectations of him, right? Because like Vin's so extraordinary.
Maybe it's not our father.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I like where you're at there. Yeah, man, it's it's a lot of it's a lot of fun. Just like the action in the beginning, and Vin breaking in, and kind of like you said, like making it farther than anyone's made it before. She's definitely incredible, but the Lord Ruler's just it feels like inevitable. He's so strong. He's inevitable.
Well, that's like I mean, who says that? What's in the Avengers in the last
the Thanos
what's his
guy?
name? Thanos. Yeah, that's what he said. Isn't that his like whole thing? He says like, "I am inevitable."
Oh yeah, totally. That makes sense. Yeah, it's just like, man, it definitely got some Thanosy vibes. Super powerful.
Yeah,
and like changing his like. Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. What else did you think about our Lord Ruler? I mean, we got pretty up close and personal this time. First time. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I think the two things that she's seen, are obviously could maybe be like other versions of him, but then with him being so old, like he has certainly discovered or used. I'm thinking metal mines, right? Like he was with the terrorist people. He obviously has talked a lot about it in his journal, in the logbook, about their powers and how they can store their energy. And like, okay, he is a 1,000-year-old being, right? Like, how has he stayed alive, right? Like he was a man. He didn't just become you don't just become a god. Like, shouldn't you have just been a god? Like he is using something to maintain, who he is. And I think he kind of is growing old, using some kind of metal mine on him, probably all the rings that he's wearing, and is storing up energy and strength and age and health and whatever it is. And so, she busts in on him in his home. It's like catching him on the toilet. You know what I mean? Like he's not ready. Yeah. He's all old and shit, wrinkly AF. Mm-hmm. But
now he's not. Now he's like,
Now he's not. Now sitting on his throne.
That's an interesting theory.
Not his porcelain throne, is his normal throne, and he's like, obviously he looks young again because he's using those things. So I think that's what's happening there. I think it would be a good explanation.
Nice, very cool.
So we'll see.
Very cool. We'll see. Yeah, we got to read and find out. Yeah, it's a fantastic chapter. We had a good recap. I say I'm ready to jump into our next snack.
Let's do it. We're gonna keep. You can't stop an avalanche, and you certainly can't stop a Sanderlanche.
No, sir.
We're gonna keep cruising because we need to. We got to keep this train going. So, super boring snack. I think he's super obsessed with the sun for some reason. It's beautiful. He watches it rise even when he's. He can't sleep, and so he awakens before dawn. He watches the sunrise. He loves to see it. He grows a little more determined and a little more hopeful when he sees it. And in a way, it's the thing that keeps him going all the time. Now, it's stark contrast to the world that I think he's living in and probably created himself, where the entire sky is gray and the sun never gets through and there's just ash in the sky. So like, is this just supposed to be this stark contrast of who he was before and like the things that he was excited about in life to how he behaves in the world he's created for himself now, where there is nothing to be determined about or hopeful about because he doesn't see the sun anymore. He doesn't want to see it. Maybe it reminds him too much of the pain of what he was and what he was supposed to be and who he is now.
Yeah, I kind of get the vibe on that, like, there at the end about the pain of who he used to be and who he is now. But also, like, yeah, in a way, it's almost like this, like, delusion if it's now, like, he's just make-believing this existence. Because he's so incredibly bored and tired, and he's like, he's just like, oh yeah, like this is interesting for this little bit, this resistance and this lying and stuff. He's like intrigued, but then he's like, oh, the rebellion, like I don't care, like whatever, I'll deal with that if I have to. And just that confidence and that, yeah, like we were saying, the inevitability. Really, like, I still think rings true here, right? The sun is this inevitable. If everything changes, the sun is this inevitable, like, cycle. But the last sentence, in a way, it's the only thing that has kept me going outside. That means that he has nothing else left that is keeping
Yeah.
him going. And so it's like this great sadness. And so I liked the way you compared it at the end there as well. Yeah. Yeah, a little snack, but I was ready to dive into this one. It's a great perspective here that we start with. Not one we've had a lot of, but it just, yeah, it's good.
Biting right into Doxson here. So we're
37.
getting Doxson's in the warehouse in 37. He is basically doing what he's always meant to do, right? He's managing. So Kelsier's plan, he needed someone with like someone to manage the chaos essentially. And so that's what Doxson's doing. Kelsier's crazy plan. He did all the leadership stuff. He did all the crazy stuff, and he kind of has left Doxson to almost pick up the pieces and, kind of see the thing through. And so, he is sending people off to capture strong points and food and water. And, he's doing all this stuff that he obviously has been trained to do and knows to do. He's got messengers running in and out, and one runs in and, this messenger says, hey, none of the guards have seen her come out. And one claimed he saw her being carried towards the palace dungeons. And Doxson says, can you get her out? And the soldier, we see that he's in an imperial uniform. His name is Goradel, new name, pales. And, he had been one, we learn here he's one of the Lord Ruler's own men. And Doxson's not super trustworthy of him, but, he's kind of got to do what he's got to do. And Doxson's like, come on, like, can you? And he's like, well, there was an inquisitor holding her captive, so I certainly couldn't free her. I wouldn't even have the authority to, and like, Doxson just kind of dismisses him, and he's like, damn fool girl, like, she should have had better sense than this. And so this guy is obviously one of the ones that Vin had
turned,
rioted, and because he doesn't have the patch, right? He ripped that off, and we see that here too. So Doxson waves him away, and Hammond runs in. He's got a sword with a broken hilt, which is impressive.
Oh, it's awesome.
And,
I'm gonna need a new sword.
Yeah,
he's just swinging it really hard.
Yeah, that's literally Doxson's like, goddamn thugs. Like they're always breaking stuff.
He's got this Irish accent in the audiobook. It's so great. Like, you thugs always breaking things. Go see what you can find in. It's so fun. It's done really well.
Yeah, that's cool. So he comes in. He's telling Doxson that Keep Ilarial just fell, but Lacal is still holding. And we obviously know that Lacal has some additional forces, or should, from the House Venture. He's thinking here realistically, I'd love to get into the palace and break Vin out, but we're going to be too late to help her. We've got other things we need to worry about. Like, we have to organize these forces to do a major assault on the palace. Like, if we don't do it that way, it's not going to work. She's just going to have to hold out. The palace isn't they have to go into that prepared. And so Ham's saying, I'm going to get my men ready. Like, I'm going to get my new sword. And, Doxson calls off, hey, if you see Sazed, tell him. And he trails off because a bunch of Ska rebels are marching in, and they've got a prisoner. And he's like, what's going on?
Who this?
And he's like, oh yeah, this guy, we found him, and he claims to be someone important. And he said he'd give us some gold if we brought him to you. And so they pull off the hold, and who is it? Good old friend Ellen Venture, man. He's
getting into trouble, man.
The noble that just won't quit,
Yeah, he won't quit.
And Doxson's like, you? And Ellen's like, have we met? And Doxson's like, well, we just been talking about you and spying on you. And I mean, he doesn't say any of that, but that's obviously what's going on.
Yeah, I know you.
He's like, not exactly, is how he puts it. And so Ellen's like, I've come to offer you a truce. And Doxson's kind of flabbergasted by this. And he says, we're not going to resist you. House Venture won't. And I'm going to talk the rest of the nobility into this same deal as well. They're just frightened. You don't have to slaughter them. And Dockson's like, I can't do that. And he's like, if you destroy us, you're not going to be able to hold out for long. We control the economy. Everything's going to collapse without us. And Dockson's like, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
he's like, no, you have to hear me out, Ellen says. If you start your rebellion with chaos and bloodshed, you're going to lose it. I've studied these things. I know what I'm talking about. The momentum's going to run out, and the people are going to start looking for other things to destroy. You're going to turn on yourself. You got to keep control of your armies. And Dockson's kind of surprised here because everything that has been kind of gathered information-wise about Ellen is like, hey, he's supposed to be a fool.
And a fop.
Now he seems
He calls
earnest. Yeah, and a fop. Fetty wop. And Ellen's like, I'll help you, and we'll leave the noblemen's keeps alone, like the Lord Ruler and the Ministry. That's who you need to be fighting. And Dockson's like, look, like I can keep them away from Keep Venture, and he's like, nope, keep Lacau. That's where I sent them. Pull your men away from all the nobility. We're not going to attack your flanks. We're just going to hole up in our mansions and worry. And Dockson's like, well, okay, maybe I'll consider it. And Ellen's not really paying attention to him anymore. And he's staring at Hammond.
He's finally figuring it out.
Who had returned with the new sword. And Ellen's frowned, kind of thinking, like, where do I know this guy from? And he's like, oh, I know who you are. Like, you're the one who rescued all of Lord Renault's servants. And Ellen turns back to
These are
Dockson,
my favorite famous
eager.
ska people.
Yeah. I've been looking for you. And he's like, do you know Valette? And of course, we're right back to it. He's like, she'll tell you, like, she'll tell you to listen to me. And Dockson and Ham are sharing this look. And Ellen's like, what? And Dockson's like, well, Valette, that girl, she went into the palace and she hasn't come back out. I'm sorry. She's probably in the dungeons if she's still alive.
Oh my god! Yeah. Ellen's world
Could you
just
imagine?
gets blown away. Dude.
Yeah.
And hearing her name for the first time, I think too, from Docs. There, like Docs just ruins it right away on the first time, the first chance he gets. Yeah, Doc.
Well, I mean, he's not used to calling her Valette.
No, definitely
he's
not.
never had to keep up the appearances. It's so
it
makes sense.
I love it. It's so good. It's just
that's great.
It's just earnest, like I think that's why he likes Ellen. Is that he is also kind of an earnest person. Or doesn't really. I wouldn't say likes him. He doesn't like noblemen at all. But he is like willing to give him a chance.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, he's hearing him out.
Perspective change.
Bong. And so we are back with Vin. Good old Carr, is throwing her back into her cell after their little meeting rendezvous with the Lord Ruler. And he is smiling, and he's like, thank you for what you did for me. Thanks very much. You just helped us achieve something that we've been trying to do for a long time. And she's glaring at him, and he says, it's unfortunate that Bindal, who's a new name here, isn't here. He chased your brother for years, swearing that Tavidian had fathered a Skaal half-breed.
Yep.
I think we're seeing some pretty impressive and exciting and nuggets of history that we certainly have not seen before. And we're going to get some more here, but it's just this, like, pay attention, buckle up, because it's happening.
There's a lot. It's jam-packed. Yeah.
And so he's saying to her, he, meaning Bindal, was vindicated in the end. The rest of us believed your brother, but Bindal, even he wasn't convinced then, and he found you in the end. This guy found you in the end. And Vin's like, my brother, like, he sold me out? And he's like, sold you out? He died promising us that you had starved to death years ago. He screamed it night and day beneath our torturers, and it's hard to hold out against the pains of an Inquisitor's torture. Something you're going to discover soon. But let me show you something we've got for you. So before we get to that, big bomb dropped. Maybe he ran off somewhere, or maybe he just got captured, right. By the obligators here, and they tortured him. And
totally.
They were like, hey, who's your father? Where's your sister? She's dead, I promise. And then they kill him, right? So like this whole time, he didn't necessarily leave her in the way that she's thinking, like, oh yeah,
Right.
maybe he's gone out to Terrace or down to the islands in the south. Nope, he's dead, and they got him, and he didn't leave you like you thought. In the same, like, he left you, but it's not his fault.
Right.
Don't
Right.
blame him. So
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
but they onward, they bring out a naked bound figure and it's all bruised and bleeding, and they throw him on the floor and they push him into the cell next to Vin's, and it says it.
Yeah.
And he's super groggy. The soldiers have him tied. His hands are all tied, and he's barely recognizable. He's barely conscious, and he's completely naked. And Vin briefly looks at, between his legs and sees a scar there where his manhood should have been. And a quick reminder that all Terraceman stewards are eunuchs.
Right.
That's what he had told her. And so he's just covered in bruises and cuts. And they say that he came into the palace after Ven and, had feared for her safety. And she's like, what did you do to him? And he's like, oh, this is nothing. Like, and then this is kind of interesting. I didn't understand necessarily what was happening here, but he says, now you may wonder, this is the Inquisitor, Carr talking to Vin. Now you may wonder why I spoke to you of your brother. Perhaps you think me a fool for admitting that your brother's mind snapped before he drew out his secret. But you see, I am not so much a fool that I will not admit a mistake. We should have drawn out your brother's torture, made him suffer longer. That was an error indeed. And then he goes on to say, like, we're not going to make that mistake again. We're going to torture this Terraceman for a very long time, and
make you watch.
You're going to watch,
Yeah.
and then until we get what we want out of you. And so when he's saying his brother's mind snapped, are they saying like he went crazy, or did he snap in the sense of like he awoke in his powers because he's having this horrible thing happen to him?
Right. Yeah, it's an interesting word choice for sure. Yeah, I'm not. I can't quite say. I mean, it does kind of sound like, from what we're hearing, that he is, tortured and put through the ringer, by the Inquisitors for sure. But yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
We'll see, I guess.
I guess we'll see.
So Carter is like, hey, you think about this, what we've talked about, and I'm going to go take over leadership of the ministry here, and I'll be back. So he walks out, and they're kind of alone now. Maybe some guards outside the chamber, but it's just her and Sayes in the room. And Sayes, surprisingly, is like, oh, hey, Vin. Like, he's just like, very normal, lucid voice, doesn't sound beaten down. He's like, what did I tell you about running around in your undergarments? Dachshund would have a fit if he was here. She's like, oh, Sayes, like, what's going on? You're awake? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm awake. Like, ain't no thing. And she's like, why did you do it? Why'd you come in here? And he's like, well, I promised Kelsier, and I would see to your safety, and like, by golly, I'm gonna, an oath of a Terraceman's not something to be given lightly.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's so good. He's the best.
He is the best, and it gets even better because Vin's all
So
shameful, and she's like, "Oh, you should have known you'd be captured." He's like, well, "Yeah, of course I did. I was planning on it. Like that's how they were gonna bring me to you." Like,
he's so great, dude.
And he's like, "Yeah, like how else was I gonna get in here?" And there's one thing that the ministry and my own people have in common. They both underestimate the things we can accomplish. And so he closes his eyes, and his body starts to morph, and he kind of seems to deflate for a second. But then, and Vince like panics. She's like, say it. He's like shriveling up like Benjamin Button. And he's like, it's okay. I just need a moment to gather my strength. And Vin's like, what? And then next thing you know, he literally hulks out. It's literally the definition of like hulking out, right? He just grows bigger than a thug is. He's bigger than a Hammond. He's just like grows and is got these veiny, thick muscles, and don't know why I said they were veiny, but he's very big. And
they're veiny.
His eyes snapped open,
Yeah.
and he's just this huge guy, and he's just able to break out of break out of any bonds, bindings that were holding him. And, she's thinking, oh, the Lord Ruler spoke of their strength in the logbook. I remember that. And he said that Rashek lifted a boulder out of their way. And she's like, but they took your jewelry. Like, where'd you hide this metal? Because he's obviously using a metal mine.
Great.
He goes, I took this hint from you. I swallowed it. And so he rips the bars apart, and she braces him, and he's like, thank you. And he's like, of course, let's get out of here. So the two guards who had thrown Sazed into the chamber to begin with, they're in the doorway, and they're like, they freeze, and they're like, ah, shit. And so they run forward. The Farukami is...
the Farrakhan,
it's giving him the strength, but there's no
speed.
speed associated. So he's like, kind of a lumbering oaf, right? Like, doom, 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 like just trying to get it. And the guards are dashing away. They're screaming for help. And he's like, my strength isn't going to last long. We got to go. I don't have much. I didn't swallow much metal. Like, I can't hold much of a ferrochemical charge.
Yeah, ferrochemical charge. Yeah, exactly.
They get out into the next room, and there's a robe there where the guards were sitting, and she tosses the cloak to Sazed, and he thanks her, and they move out, and she sees that there's this weird empty room, and one of the hallways is lined with these trunks, and it's got this big table in the middle, and there's dried blood and instruments lying on the table next to it. And she's thinking, don't want to be there, right? Like, that's clearly where they're going to torture us. So let's get out of here. And she's upset because some more guards, the original guards from before and another group, come around the corner. And she's like, fuck, like I can't burn my metals. And Sazed is literally decreasing in size right now.
Yeah.
Like he can barely walk, and he's like, go run. And she's like, nope. Kelsier said, I have some things to learn about friendship, and I'm not going to leave him. I'm not going to do it. And so she takes out, she snatches a pair of torturing knives off the table, and she just runs, jumps off the table into the air like she had her powers, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
And so she comes, down on the first soldier, gets him, but she falls on the ground. It hurts a lot more than she was expecting it to, because she's normally
burning pewter and shit.
Burning pewter to be enhanced, and she's kind of knocking the wind out of herself here. And she's thinking there's too many. There's like 24 of these guys. And she's trying to jump for another guy, and he swings his quarterstaff at her, hits her in the rib. She's stunned. She drops the knife. It's not going well. This is kind of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so she gets up on her side, and like Sazed's kind of collapsing. His body's growing very weak. He's going to try to store up some strength again, but it's not going to be enough. And she's thinking, well, at least I tried, right? Like, that's the least I could have done. I could try to save my friends. And there's another group of soldiers coming down the hallway, and she's like, oh, fuck, like, this is it. And then Valette, our good old friend Ellen Venture, back at it again.
Yes, and the white Vince.
He's putting him to work here. He's hauling down this hallway. He's got his 6 soldier buddies, his honor guard with him, and he's got his nobleman suit, and it's not really fitting well. And he's got a dueling cane, and he's like, she's like, Ellen, like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, oh, are you all right? And he's looking at the ministry soldiers. He's like, I'm taking the girl with me. And they're not about it. And so one, Vin recognizes one of the guys with Ellen as the palace guard who she had kind of set free from the palace, like the one that had ripped off his patch from his uniform. And the lead ministry soldier inside now is like, nope, like, we're not listening to them. We're going to surround you guys. We're going to kill you all. And, Ellen's like, nope, we're going. And Sazed is like, yep, we got to go. Ellen kind of pushes her to go, and he's going to stay and fight for her. And Sazed is like, nope, we got to go, Vin. Like, you can't stay here. And she's like, you came for me. Why can't we do the same for Ellen? And he says, this is different. I knew I had the chance to save you. You cannot help here. There's a beauty and compassion, but one must learn wisdom too. Which, this is interesting. I mean, I can agree, but it is different from what we saw earlier with Kelsier and crew and the square. Like, I
Mm,
don't know if anyone thought we have a chance to save those people. I think they had a chance, but I don't think it was like a realistic chance, right? Like, and here he's saying, "Oh, like this is kind of a suicide mission. We gotta go." But that's
right.
kind of what that was too, So like, I feel like I'm kind of getting a little some conflicting ideals from Sanderson here,
Mm.
because I don't think that this is exactly the same thing, Like,
Oh yeah. Well, I think maybe Seiza doesn't share the same ideals that
oh, that's a good
that
point.
that Kelsier did, and I think that like his objective over a lot is Vin right here and like Vin's
Yeah,
safety. And also, I mean, yeah, no, I definitely hear what you're saying. Those are two conflicting kind of ideologies, but I
yeah,
think Calcier's perspective was a lot different in his approach to stuff, and says is like, yeah, puts a lot of value into Vin here, and just kind of like her safety, um, part of the crew. He makes that choice, but there's also I don't think much that either of them can really do. They're like absolutely,
oh yeah. Says it as an old kind of guy here, right? He's shrunken down, and Vin doesn't have any allomancy, so
yeah,
not looking good. But Vin sees in one of the trunks sticking out a familiar strip of gray cloth, and she recognizes her mist coat, and she pulls it. She pulls free of Sazed, and she runs out. And Ellen and crew are starting to fight the Ministry goons behind her, and she finds her shirt and her trousers, and there
ah,
at the bottom lays her mist cloak, and she reaches inside the pocket, and she's got one single glass vial. It's
yes,
got the cork is still in place, and so she, the fight's on behind her. Ellen, they're very quickly. Him and his men are being surrounded. A bunch of them are already laying on the ground. Um, Ellen's sweating. He's got a cut on his arm. She's down in this vial, and says it's like, I was wrong about that one, mistress. Like, I apologize. So kind of
mm,
cool to see him be like, oh no, like we should have stayed because you got this. I
right, doubted.
shouldn't have doubted you.
Yeah, says it's
Um,
great, man. He's really aware.
and she burns, immediately burns the metals, and she's all her pain and everything's kind of disappearing from her body, and the soldiers are attacking Ellen again, and she flies through the air like Superman over his head, lands amid the soldiers, blasts outward. They all smash into the walls. They're swinging stuff at her. She's punching people right in their face, barefisted.
Yeah,
Just like just she's taking care of business here.
she's like
And so like
redirecting people's weapons into each other. It's so sick,
it's
dude. Yeah,
yeah, she's very very extremely good, and they're trying to run away, and she like takes this guy who he's got a metal cap on, and like she snatches it off of him, then throws it back at him. It smashes him, and then he flies down the hallway and hits the two guys that are fleeing, and they all fall. And she's obviously excited, and she's like, I can see how Kelsier would get addicted to this. This was fun.
yeah.
And Ellen is stupefied, and he's like, Villette? And she is overjoyed. She embraces him, and I mean, it makes sense, but I wasn't expecting her, I guess, for her emotion and what she's saying here of you came back. She just keeps saying
Yeah.
it because
Yeah,
everyone
she's
left,
really
right? Like
happy.
everyone's always left her, right? Like she, her mom basically left her. Her dad never had her. The crew left her. Her
Yeah.
brother
She
left
thought, yeah,
her.
Reen,
She thought
Kelsier.
Kelsier had left her.
Right.
Everyone in her life leaves, and that's what Reen has told her in her head for years and years and years. And so she's so excited that this person that she thought had left her actually came back. And he doesn't obviously understand any of that. And he's like, yeah, and I see that you're a Mistborn. That's pretty interesting. Usually you tell your friends about something like that, and she's just like, yeah, sorry. And he's like, yeah, actually, also, by the way, could you put some clothes on? And where are your clothes? And she's just like, how did you find me? And he's like, oh yeah, Doxson told me. I met with Doxson, and this cool guy, Captain Goradel, he was like, oh, I can get you in there. And So we came in, and yeah, here we are. And he's like, "Oh yeah, but by the way, like your clothes, I'm super distracted. My
You gotta stop.
teen horniness is out of control. I cannot be looking at your undergarments. This is inappropriate and churlish, and we can't be doing it."
Churlish.
She's just like, Sage finally comes up. He's got her clothes, and she's
We
just
need
like,
to
"Yep,
leave."
you well, yeah." She's like, "You found me," and he's like, "Yeah, much good it did. Like, you didn't need my help." And she's like, "It doesn't matter. You came back. No one's ever come back."
Yeah, before. Yeah.
And
It's awesome.
so Sage
She's
is like,
happy.
"Yep, we need to, like you said, we need to leave, and it's not safe anywhere in the city, and the Scar are rebelling," is what Ellen says. And he's like, "But I guess you probably already knew that." And she just nods, and she's like, "I helped start it, but you're right about the danger. Go with Sazed. He knows many of the rebel leaders. You're going to be safe. They're not going to hurt you." And like they're kind of frowning at her, and she, finds she gets her trousers on. She's got her mom's earring. She puts it on, and he's like, "Go. Like, what about you?" And she glances upwards towards the feeling of the Lord Ruler above her. And she's like, "He's there. He's too powerful. And now that I faced him directly, like, I know his strength, and that we're all doomed, right? Like, if we don't do anything about him, we are doomed." And she's like, "I've got another task." And they're like, you can't
As long
defeat
as
him.
he
You think you
lived,
can
yeah.
defeat him?"
Yeah, right.
And she's like, "Yeah, I have to try."
Yeah,
And then she tells Saze, who she hasn't talked about this yet, the 11th metal worked, and that she saw something, and that Kelsier convinced it would provide the secret. And she's saying, "Kelsier died to start this. I have to see that it succeeds. This is my part." And Kelsier didn't know what it was, but I do, and I have to stop him. And Ellen, he's just
He's just late
knows
to the
nothing.
game.
He's like, the Lord Ruler.
He's immortal.
Like, he can't. He's immortal. He's God.
You can't kill God.
No. Come on, Valette, let's go. And she grabs Ellen and kisses him. And he's like, "Your family deliver the aid to the Lord Ruler. Do you know where he keeps it?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, like it's in the treasury." He's like, "You go get the ATM. The new government's going to need it. That's your part in this now. And we can't have the noble, the first nobleman who can raise an army collect it." He's like, "No, like, I have to be with you. I have to get you to safety." And she just smiles. She turns to Sage, and they kind of nod at each other. And she's like, "Oh, you're not going to tell me not to go?" And he says, "Nope. I fear that you are right. If he's not defeated, the Lord Ruler, well," and he kind of is just like, "I'm not going to stop you. Like, if he's not defeated, ... He's like, "But I'll bid you good luck, and I'll come to help you once I see young venture to safety." And she nods and smiles, and Ellen's apprehensive. He's not very excited, and he's looking up towards the dark force above, and she burns her copper, and she pushed aside the Lord Ruler soothing, and he says, "Valette," and she turns back to him, and she says, "Don't worry. I think I know how to kill him."
Oh, man. Awesome.
And then that leads us into the end of chapter 37, the beginning of chapter 38, which we will cover next time on Shards and Shenanigans.
Final episode. Season finale. Well, there'll be a double finale. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Could be the finale. You never know. But yeah, great stuff, man. 2 really awesome chapters. I just think we're in the full-on Sanderlanche. This book, ends in such a fast pace, tons of information, and it's really fun to soak it in.
I agree. What, having read it before and now rereading it, do you have any thoughts that you can share about, some perspective from when you were first reading the book to now? Obviously, you already knew what was happening here, but like, has anything up to this point, or have you had any, I guess, having the knowledge of having read it before, what was your feelings reading it the second time and the information you already had? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. There was some good drops in here, some kernels that I didn't really know were important until like later. And that was pretty cool. So reading it again, I got excited, and some things that you brought up and like I think you're onto some good stuff. Um, it it's really fun to, I don't know, kind of get caught up in it again. It's been a while. This was the first Sanderson book I read, and I've read a lot of content since. But like just like seeing the visions of the Lord Ruler, like when she burns the 11th metal for the first time, like that wasn't something that I like remembered super well. So it was like really exciting to kind of relive that this time, and yeah, like the different format of like reading versus listening is really fun because like I think I have these voices like in my head, but to like read it and kind of pick up different things, focus on different things is a lot of fun. So I love how we're picking it apart, and yeah, man, I mean, I like this is one of my favorite books. It's the reason I got into Sanderson, and I think a lot of it has to do with the way that it ends. I think it ends really well. So we're almost there. One more chapter and an epilogue,
Yeah, I know. I'm excited that we're here, and I mean, obviously everyone's been on this journey with us, and we didn't like read these like day by day and just record a bunch of chapters and episodes and release them just over this long period. We've obviously been, at least for me, Christopher has read all this before and can read as much as he wants, but I'm reading as we go, and we're certainly not so far ahead to where it's like, oh yeah, like we just did all of this, and so all this to say, what I'm trying to say is that it's been a long time coming. We've been reading this book, and it's very exciting to be at the end, and I'm very excited to read the last chapter here plus the epilogue. So I'll probably cruise through that tomorrow. Normally I wait till like when we record to like the whatever day we're gonna record. I'll read it that day. That way I'm super fresh and kind of ready to rip. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait. I think I'm just going to have to read this to see what happens with Finn and the Lord Ruler and the Ska Rebellion and, Elend and Says and Ham and Breeze and what's everyone doing? Clubs?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Spook. Yeah, what's going on with
Docs.
Docs.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, man, yeah. And what happens to Straff, you know what I mean? Like, what's up with him? I hope bad things happen to him. Where's that garrison out there?
Where's Ursur?
Yeah, where's Ursur? And
the
other
said
one,
he had more things to do.
And there's the other one too. There's like
the one from the Venture House.
Yeah, I think his name was mentioned as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot of like still some good things out there for us to discover and find out, and it's gonna be fun.
It's going to be very fun. 10 Soon is
I know his name. Yeah. I wasn't sure.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure. That's in the past, right? Your thing is looking in the past.
That's in the past. That's
okay.
in the past.
Perfect.
That's in the past.
Yeah. Well, good. It's safer for you to look it up with that reader. I love that. That's a thing. That's really helpful.
Yep. It's been good. It's been a good tool. So, no, I think those 2 chapters were awesome. Reading a book like this, I think any fantasy, you can certainly get bogged down with some chapters of very heavy, like, world building, or very, like, hey, we're just growing these characters, and, like, whether it's The Lord of the Rings, or even Eye of the World, the beginning of, like, we're starting off on a journey, and, like, yeah, maybe there's a little excitement, but, like, me and my friends are going for a walk, and it's just like, okay, that's nice, but I'm a little bored,
Totally.
And so this book hasn't quite had that same feeling for me. I think we've had lots of action interspersed, and don't grant it, there are some chapters where it's like, okay, I'm not digging whatever this storyline is. Let's get back to someone else or something, that you're more excited about. But so it was good to have these 2 chapters. Actually, really, the last 6 or whatever have been ramping up to just like craziness. So it's cool to be in it. And like, obviously, like I said before, makes you want to read. And I'm certainly going to read these sooner than later, these next couple chapters. So
awesome, buddy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading them too, man. It's going to be fun. And even though I know what happens, like I can't wait to being it there, like just kind of, I feel like I'm right there with Vin looking up and having this idea. And I know a lot of what happens in the Cosmere, but I'm still looking forward to what's next here. So it's gonna be fun. We're in for a treat, and it's been fun to read along the way. So yeah, well,
We're in it now.
we're in it now. Shout outs, moms.
Hey, shout out moms.
Moms, yeah, nice.
Love you, moms.
Love you, moms.
Ladies.
Ladies.
Specifically,
Our ladies.
our ladies.
Yeah, those ones.
Not just all the ladies
Yeah.
out there. We'll shout out to you too, but not in the same way.
Yeah, and the dudes as well, and
some guys.
Yeah, and those that are,
And those, they, thems.
those that are thems. Yeah, exactly. We're all about it. I dig that, and shout out to all of you.
Yep. Whatever you are.
Whatever you are, whatever you want to be, I'm here for it. Shout out to our listeners, because, I guess that's everybody we
guys.
just talked about.
Yeah.
I guess shout out to people that
Moms,
don't listen
thanks.
to us, too. Yeah, we definitely shout out to people that don't listen to us. Kirkland, Sparkling Water, Misty Boys.
Okay. We've been through this once or twice. We love you guys. Thanks for listening, and super excited to hit 38 in the epilogue here next week. So catch us next week, and we're wrapping it up. Thanks for coming along on the journey, and we'll see you then.
See you then. Misty out.
Shards out.
Oh, shards.
Ah, shucks.